On May 25, 2019, a criminal case occurred on Jeju Island, located in the southwest of South Korea, where the victim's body was never found. The woman, named Koh Yu Jeong, was born on February 2, 1983, stood 1.6 meters tall, and weighed 50 kilograms. She was born into a wealthy family thanks to her father's car rental business on Jeju Island. The Koh family also owned considerable real estate on both Jeju Island and in Gimpo City, ensuring their material well-being. Despite their wealth, Koh Yu Jeong's family was not happy. After the birth of her youngest sibling, her parents divorced. Her father remarried, and she, along with her two brothers, lived with their father and stepmother. Koh Yu Jeong's childhood was marked by commendable achievements. She was recognized as intelligent, lively, and consistently excellent in her studies. After graduating from high school, she was admitted to Jeju National University, one of the top quality universities in South Korea. It was there that Koh Yu Jeong met Kang at a volunteer event. Kang was a fellow student, and they shared similar ages and interests. Gradually, they developed a romantic relationship. Their beautiful love story lasted 6 years and culminated in a lavish wedding on Jeju Island at the age of 30. Following the wedding, they embarked on a joyful honeymoon. But loving someone and marrying them are two entirely different things. Frictions and disputes gradually surfaced, escalating from minor disagreements to major arguments, such as on the last day of their honeymoon, when they had a fierce argument at the airport while preparing to fly back home. The reason was that the plane was about to take off, but Koh insisted on going to the duty-free shop to shop. Kang, angry, wanted to board the plane and return home first. However, according to airline policy, a round-trip ticket for two requires both passengers to board at the same time. Therefore, Kang reluctantly went to find his wife, and as a result, they both missed their flight. Upon returning to Jeju Island, the storms temporarily subsided and they began a new life. At that time, Kang was pursuing a PhD at the university and did not have a formal job. His main source of income was based on scholarships and part-time work. In contrast, Koh did not need to work because her wealthy father occasionally provided financial support to his daughter, yet she spent extravagantly. Kang frequently reminded his wife about this issue, but Koh did not change. Moreover, Koh never did household chores. All the cleaning was handled by Kang after returning from the lab. A year after getting married, in November 2014, they had a son. Raising a child was very expensive, plunging their financial situation into crisis. Koh was not satisfied with reality and became increasingly irritable. Whenever things did not go her way, she would scold her husband, even scratching and attacking him. On one occasion, Koh, displeased with her husband, threw her mobile phone at Kang, injuring his eye. Despite their 6 years of dating before marriage, Koh seemed to have turned into a completely different person after getting married, becoming aggressive and unable to control her temper. Every time they argued, new scars appeared on Kang's body, raising questions among friends. When recounting the incidents, Kang mentioned that during their 6 years of dating, Koh Yu Jeong had never shown violent behavior. Contrary to Koh's character, Kang believed that postpartum depression and pressure had turned her violent. Kang always hoped she would stabilize, which is why he endured the beatings without resistance. Later, Koh did not improve. The climax occurred when Koh picked up a knife and held their 1-year-old son in her arms, declaring that they should all die together. After witnessing this scene, Kang was terrified. From then on, the idea of divorce began to form in Kang's mind. In 2016, Kang decided to file for divorce. Koh vehemently disagreed with her husband's decision, but the papers were filed in court, and eventually she had to accept the divorce. Koh won custody of their son due to Kang's unstable income, while Koh's family was financially powerful. Although Kang initiated the divorce unilaterally, he was still granted the right to visit his son twice a month. From here, the fuse in a nightmare began to ignite. Kang could never have imagined that this decision would permanently entangle him and his family in a crime beyond anyone's imagination. In that same year, Koh sought new happiness and remarried. Her new husband, Hong, who was 35 years old, worked at the local fire department. He had also experienced a failed marriage previously and had a 5-year-old son, the same age as Koh's son. After marrying, both of their sons were cared for by their grandparents, and Koh moved from Jeju City to live in Cheongju City. From there, Koh and Hong focused on building their new marriage, hoping to heal the pains of the past. On May 27, 2019, a Monday, the Jeju City Police Department received a call reporting a case. The caller was Kang's younger brother. He told the police, "My brother has been missing for several days and cannot be contacted. The last I knew, he said he was going to see his son a few days ago, but then he vanished." Kang's brother also added that around 8 p.m. on May 25, 2019, he had called Kang but received no answer. At 9:25 p.m., Kang's brother sent a message asking if everything was finished, to which Kang finally replied at 10:25 p.m. saying, "Done now. I still have some work at the lab and am on my way home. My phone is about to die." Since then, Kang could not be contacted anymore, and his mobile phone was always turned off, prompting Kang's brother to contact the police for help. After an initial investigation, the police suspected that Kang might have had a dispute with his ex-wife during his visit to see his son, leading him to turn off his mobile phone. Therefore, they tried to contact Koh, Kang's ex-wife, to understand the situation. Confronted by the police, Koh appeared very weak and tearful. She explained, "On May 25, 2019, Kang drove alone to meet his son for the first time in 2 years since our divorce. In the time before that, Kang had not seen his son even once because I harbored ill feelings towards him. Kang had repeatedly requested to see his son, but I denied him due to the $283 per month Kang provided for child support, claiming it was insufficient for the child's expenses, and thus Kang had no rights to visit the child. Eventually, Kang was forced to file a court order requiring me to allow him to meet his son before May 25, 2019. Therefore, I had no choice but to agree. On May 25, 2019, as arranged, I brought our son to a recreational park in Seogwipo City in the southern part of Jeju Island to meet Kang. We had a pleasant time together. After enjoying ourselves, all 3 of us went back to a nearby hotel to rest. However, that night when we went to bed, Kang made inappropriate advances towards me. I resisted vehemently, and Kang eventually tried to escape through the back door. My son and I then went to sleep and left the hotel the next day, and Kang has not been seen since. At that time, the police believed that Kang might have gone somewhere to hide after the scandal with his ex-wife, and that he would return once things calmed down. The investigation begins. In light of Koh's convincing statements about Kang, Kang's younger brother was not satisfied, so he personally went to investigate the hotel that Koh had rented. Here, suspicious events began to emerge. First, it was unusual that Koh had rented a hotel without surveillance cameras, which is uncommon for a tourist-frequented island like Jeju, where cameras typically monitor tourists, unless the renter had the intention of doing something private. Next, surveillance cameras at a hotel 30 meters away from the one Koh rented showed that Kang had entered the hotel but had not left, contrary to Koh's claims to the police. Moreover, Kang's brother discovered that Koh was not truthful, as surveillance footage showed that Koh did not check out the next day, as she had mentioned. but stayed an additional day and a half before leaving. The landlord mentioned that Koh had requested not to be disturbed during their stay, which made Kang's brother feel uneasy and suspicious. Upon reviewing the surveillance footage, it was visible that Koh and her son left on the morning of May 26, 2019, but Kang was nowhere to be seen. Koh then returned to the hotel alone at 12 p.m. on May 27, 2019, carrying luggage and left the premises. It was at this point that the police realized Kang's disappearance might not be as straightforward as they thought, and the case was immediately handed over to the Criminal Investigation Department. In the room that Koh had rented, the police used luminol, a special chemical, to detect traces of blood that had been cleaned and were invisible to the naked eye. Through this, investigators found significant amounts of blood in the living room, bedroom, kitchen, and bathroom of the inn. Tests confirmed that the blood belonged to Kang, Koh's ex-husband. Additionally, they found traces of sleeping pills in Kang's blood. Based on the evidence gathered, Koh, aged 36, was immediately considered a suspect and placed under special surveillance on suspicion of murdering Kang. Arresting the perpetrator and recreating the crime scene. At 10:32 a.m. on June 1, 2019, Koh appeared in the parking lot of her house where police immediately arrested her on suspicion of murder. That day, Koh's right hand was bandaged, and she was holding a cardboard box, preparing to dispose of trash. Koh immediately denied the allegations of murdering her ex-husband on the spot. However, she then surprisingly confessed, calmly stating, "I killed him." The police also conducted a search and found tools used for dismembering a body and a bloodstained towel in the trash bin of Koh's apartment. Tests showed that the blood on the towel belonged to Kang and contained traces of sleeping pills. Digging deeper, the police learned that about 2 weeks before the incident, on May 10, 2019, Koh had started searching for keywords like tools for dismembering a body, sleeping pills, and human bone weight on her phone. On May 17, 2019, Koh, under the pretext of suffering from insomnia, received a prescription for sleeping pills from a hospital 20 kilometers away and bought the sleeping pills at a nearby pharmacy. She then drove across a ferry to her hometown on Jeju Island. 5 days before the incident, on May 20th, 2019, Koh contacted her ex-husband and intentionally booked a room at a remote B&B with no surveillance cameras. On May 22nd, 2019, Koh purchased knives, brushes, cleaning agents, bleach, and other items at a supermarket on Jeju Island. At the checkout, she did not forget to accumulate shopping points, an action later described by investigators as a disturbingly calm act, unusual for someone planning a murder. 2 days before the incident, and on the evening of May 23, 2019, Koh still attended a party with friends. At the party, she chatted happily with friends, unaware that a terrible murder plan was about to be executed. As for Kang, on the morning of the incident at 8:30 a.m. on May 25, 2019, Kang dressed smartly, carrying a gift for his son, and left the house. He was excited to finally see his beloved son after years of separation. By 11:30 a.m., Kang was at the amusement park, meeting his son as he had wished. Although Koh always harbored ill feelings toward Kang and a murder plot was forming in her head, she still pretended to be calm and gentle on the surface, showing no unusual signs. Koh's indifferent psychological state shocked the police during the case processing and also misled the direction of the investigation. At 3 p.m. on May 25, 2019, the three left the amusement park and together went to a supermarket in Seogwipo City to shop. At 4:20 p.m., after a fun-filled day, the three got into Koh's car and headed to a hotel in Jeju that Koh had previously booked. At 9 p.m., Koh put her son to sleep first and then pretended to care by cooking a curry meal for Kang. However, this was no ordinary curry. It contained a large amount of sleeping pills. After eating, Kang felt drowsy and decided to go to bed early. Koh took advantage of her ex-husband's groggy state and unexpectedly stabbed him. Bloodstain analysis at the scene indicated that Kang knew he was being attacked by Koh and showed signs of resistance. But unfortunately, the sleeping pills were taking strong effect, and Kang tragically died at the hands of his ex-wife. From 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., Kang's brother texted to inquire, but clearly, Koh was the one responding to the messages, not Kang. On the morning of May 26, 2019, Koh took her son back to her parents' house first. Then she returned to the inn to handle the body and checked out at noon the next day. Surveillance video showed her taking several trash bags and a suitcase from the room, which she then loaded into her car's trunk and took to a waste collection station to dispose of several bags of trash. At 1 p.m. on May 26, 2019, Koh checked into another inn and took a large suitcase from her car. Surveillance footage showed her still holding Kang's mobile phone while talking to a friend as if nothing had happened. At 3 p.m. on May 26, 2019, Koh changed clothes and left the hotel, returning at 6 p.m. On May 28, 2019, Koh went to the supermarket where she had previously purchased tools to return unused items, including a bottle of bleach. At the same time, she bought dozens of special trash bags, a backpack, plastic gloves, and cosmetic perfume. At 8:30 p.m. on May 28, 2019, Koh drove to the ferry terminal and bought a ticket from Jeju Island to Wando Island. During the ferry ride, Koh took several unmarked bags from her suitcase and threw them into the sea when no one was looking. Later, Koh used her phone to order a large cutting knife to be delivered to an apartment in Gimpo City. At 11 p.m. on May 28, 2019, the ferry docked, and Koh drove throughout the night, arriving in Gimpo the following morning. In Gimpo City, Koh purchased dust-resistant clothing at a supermarket and then returned home to continue the process of dismembering the body. She used her car to dispose of the trash bags at trash stations across various apartment complexes in the city. During the trial, the police concluded that in 5 days, Koh had traveled nearly half of South Korea and disposed of trash bags containing body parts at about 30 different processing sites. As a result, Kang's body was never found. On May 30th, 2019, Koh drove back to her husband's house in Cheongju. She told Hong that she had almost been attacked by her ex-husband on Jeju Island, even showing him 2 fabricated messages from Kang's phone. At that time, Koh was injured, which convinced Hong to believe her story. In anger, he attempted to contact Kang but was unable to reach him. He then continued to call and scold Kang's brother, accusing him of misconduct. This absurd story from Hong ultimately compelled Kang's brother to determine the truth. Immediately after Koh was arrested, she admitted to killing her ex-husband, but always insisted that her actions were in self-defense, even though the evidence pointed to her as the murderer. At the trial, based on the gathered evidence, the police believed that Koh had committed a premeditated crime motivated by her ex-husband's interference with her current marital life. Many experts assessed that Koh's behavior was not that of a normal person. They even suggested that she suffered from a personality disorder, possibly influenced by her parents' inappropriate, child-rearing attitudes. A prime example of this was her action of returning items used in the crime to the supermarket. She displayed impulsive and violent behaviors, such as murdering and gruesomely dismembering a body, yet she could still calmly carry on as if nothing had happened after committing the crime. Specifically, a few days after Koh's arrest on June 5, 2019, the Jeju Police Department requested to publicly disclose Koh's personal information. However, when in front of the cameras, Koh always covered her face and asked the police not to reveal her personal information. She declared that she would do everything possible to keep her face hidden because she was concerned about her son's future. But this proved impossible, as the following day, images and information about this wicked woman were widespread across the internet. On August 27, 2019, Kang's funeral was held at the Jeju City Funeral Home. However, his remains were never found. All that was left was a strand of Kang's hair at the crime scene in the hotel. When the case regarding Kang's death was made public, it drew significant attention in South Korea, and another crime involving Koh was revealed. Let's turn back time to 2018, a period before Kang's case came to light, to explore another incident involving Koh. After marrying Hong in 2017, Koh became pregnant, but unfortunately suffered a miscarriage. This event struck a heavy blow to Koh's psyche. From then on, her personality gradually changed, becoming more irritable and often snapping at Hong. On October 18, 2018, Koh and Hong had a fierce argument at home, after which Koh angrily left the house. 5 days later, on October 23, 2018, Koh initiated contact with Hong and reproached him for posting information about her and her son online. Hong was puzzled, as he only wanted to share with family and friends that he had 2 sons and did not want to hide the fact that he had remarried. Koh was not satisfied with this explanation, leading to the continuation of their Cold War, with each residing separately. On October 31, 2018, Koh returned home once while Hong was at work. She took a computer from the house and then left. During their time apart, Hong frequently called Koh to try to reconcile. On November 14, 2018, under the sincere persuasion of her husband, Koh decided to return home in Jeju City. After returning, Koh told Hong that they did not need to have more children and could bring his son to live together as a family of 4. Hong was surprised by his wife's suggestion because after their marriage, he had often proposed the idea of bringing both children home, but Koh had always dismissed it. After returning home, Koh finally agreed happily, making Hong feel that his wife was changing positively. 3 months later, on February 28, 2019, Hong brought his son home to their private residence in Jeju City. But Koh inexplicably delayed bringing her son back. After his son arrived, Hong was very happy. However, on the first night, Koh claimed to be unwell and asked to sleep in a separate room. Hong showed understanding, knowing they needed time to get used to each other and that sleeping separately was normal. Thus, Hong slept with his son in the main bedroom, while Koh slept alone in an adjacent room. At 9:45 p.m. on February 28, 2019, after eating a curry meal prepared by Koh, Hong's son felt sleepy, so Hong took him to the bedroom. After his son fell asleep, Hong returned to the living room to read. At that time, Koh brought him a cup of hot tea, which Hong enjoyed while reading comfortably. At midnight, Hong felt sleepy and went to lie down next to his son in the bedroom, soon falling asleep. At 10 a.m. on March 1, 2019, Hong woke up in bed, turned around, and saw his son lying face down next to him. Upon closer inspection, he saw blood coming from his son's mouth. Hong quickly checked and was horrified to find that his son was not breathing and his heart had stopped. Being a firefighter, Hong had some knowledge of first aid and quickly performed CPR on his son while asking his wife to call for emergency services. When the medical personnel arrived at the scene, Hong's son was declared deceased. After the incident, the police questioned both spouses. Hong told the police, "Last night my son ate curry and played with me for a while before going to bed. The next morning I discovered he had passed away." Koh stated, "That night I did not sleep in the same room as my husband and stepson. so I do not know what happened in that room, or why my stepson suddenly vomited a lot of blood and died. Following the incident, Koh was quickly ruled out as a suspect, while Hong remained under suspicion by the Jeju City Police. Some investigators suspected that Hong did not perform CPR on his son. However, the emergency medical personnel dispatched to the scene that day confirmed that they had seen Hong performing artificial respiration on his son. Hong was interrogated by the police 5 times regarding his son's case and also agreed to a police lie detector test, which he passed successfully. The autopsy report indicated that Hong's son died from asphyxiation. The report did not mention the presence of drugs or toxins in the body. That night, no one else visited their home except for the couple, and they had no motive to kill their son. After a period of investigation, the police declared the case closed and concluded that Hong had accidentally placed his leg on his son's back for an extended period while sleeping, leading to the boy suffocating to death. This raises the question, can an adult accidentally kill a child by overlaying them in their sleep? Or was this a premeditated murder? Hong is 1.68 meters tall and weighs 65 kilograms, and his son is 98 centimeters tall and weighs 24 kilograms. The maximum weight of Hong's entire left leg when pressing down on an object is about 7 kilograms, which would be distributed over the contact area between his thigh and his son's back, as well as the contact area involving the upper part of the child's body, thus reducing the impact on critical areas such as the nose, mouth, or chest. Therefore, experts believe that the likelihood of the child suffocating under that weight is very low, unless the child was incapacitated by drugs or had his mouth and nose blocked by the mattress, rendering him unable to move. Returning to Hong's perspective, he stated, "I'm not sure if Koh put sleeping pills in the curry, but it's too strange to be a coincidence that my son fell asleep 2 hours after eating the curry." He later added, "I was shocked to learn that Kang had been murdered after eating the curry she cooked. It's hard not to be suspicious." From this point, the police began to focus on Koh and hypothesized Koh might not be a typical murderer, and Kang might not have been her first victim. Delving deeper into Koh's phone data, the police were surprised to discover that a week before Hong's son died, Koh had searched online for accidental suffocation. Additionally, on the morning of the incident, instead of sleeping, Koh posted a social media message about selling some surplus children's items. Investigators also noted that 3 months before Hong's son died, Koh had purchased some sleeping pills in Jeju City. According to the autopsy results, there was a small bruise on the child's back, thought to be caused by a strong external force. Based on the pattern of blood on the child's face, it was evident that the external impact occurred after the boy had died, indicating no signs of struggle or movement that would cause the blood to smear. If excluding Hong, who was sleeping in the room as the perpetrator, the only other suspect would be Koh, who was sleeping in another room. An important clue, Koh had studied biology in university and had the capability to make the presence of sleeping pills undetectable. Before the incident, she had dyed Hong's hair, and dyeing hair to some extent could affect the detection of drugs in the body. This led the forensic team to be unable to find sleeping pill traces in the blood of Hong and his son. Immediately, a new trial was initiated concurrently with the trial for Kang's case. The investigation concluded that Koh was the mastermind and executor of both cases, one involving Kang and the other involving Hong's son. However, due to the body having been buried and evidence not preserved, the case concerning the death of Hong's son could not yet conclusively charge Koh. Since her arrest on June 1, 2019, Koh has undergone dozens of court hearings. She steadfastly denied any involvement in the death of Hong's son, only admitting to killing her ex-husband, which she claimed was in self-defense due to imminent harm. On February 20, 2020, the district court sentenced Koh to life imprisonment for the murder of her ex-husband. 5 months later, on July 15, 2020, the appellate court upheld Koh's life sentence. In November 2020, the Supreme Court once again affirmed the life imprisonment sentence. The case is regarded as a highly typical instance of a no-body crime in South Korean criminal history and holds significant legal implications. From a judicial perspective, the evidence regarding whether Koh murdered Hong's son appears insufficient, and perhaps only Koh herself knows the truth. The case underscores the significant pressures placed on individuals in today's society. When one harbors distorted perceptions or feels unable to control their emotions, it is crucial to seek timely help from those around them. Otherwise, a twisted personality may only lead one further down a path of crime, as was the case with Koh. She destroyed her own life and even the lives of her family members. Her parents and brother will also face societal disdain, hatred, and possibly ostracism. They can no longer live peacefully with their current lives and may have to move far away to start anew.